Water is something most of us take for granted. Turn on the tap, fill your glass, drink, repeat. But for people experiencing homelessness, getting clean drinking water is a daily challenge that requires knowledge, creativity, and sometimes sheer desperation. Marcus, a veteran who lived on the streets of Phoenix for 2 years, once told me while refilling his water bottle at a park fountain, "People die from dehydration out here every summer. Not because water doesn't exist, but because they don't know where to find it or they're too proud to ask." He wasn't exaggerating. Studies show that dehydration-related deaths among homeless populations spike during summer months, with over 300 deaths annually in the United States alone. That's 300 people who died from lack of access to something that literally falls from the sky. I spent months following homeless individuals around different cities, mapping out their water sources and learning their survival strategies. What I discovered was an entire invisible infrastructure of hydration, a network of fountains, faucets, and friendly faces that keeps people alive. These folks have turned water sourcing into both an art and a science, knowing exactly where to go at what time and how to ask without losing their dignity. Trust me, after seeing how hard some people work just to stay hydrated, I'll never waste water again. The resourcefulness isn't just about quenching thirst. It's about maintaining life itself when society has made even the most basic necessities hard to access. Let us start with the most obvious and yet surprisingly complicated source of free water that exists in almost every public space. Because public water fountains are the lifeline of street survival, but finding ones that actually work and are safe to drink from is like a treasure hunt with your health on the line. Park water fountains are the holy grail of free hydration. Most city parks have them, they're designed for public use, and nobody questions why you're there. But here's the catch, not all fountains are created equal. Some have been broken for months, others have water pressure so weak it takes 5 minutes to fill a bottle, and some just taste terrible. The fountain at Riverside Park has the coldest, cleanest water in the city, explained Jennifer, who'd been homeless for 3 years. But the one at Central Park tastes like rusty pipes and probably gives you lead poisoning. You learn which is which through trial and error, or better yet, from other people who've already done the testing. The timing matters too. Early morning is best because the water runs cold after sitting in the pipes overnight, and you avoid the crowds of kids and families who might complain about a homeless person using their fountain. I hit the parks right after sunrise, Marcus shared. Get my bottles filled before the soccer moms show up with their concerned looks and phone calls to park security. By 8 a.m., I'm ghost. Fountain etiquette has become an unspoken code among homeless communities. Don't hog the fountain, fill your containers quickly, and move on. Don't wash your whole body there, that gets fountains shut down for everyone. And definitely don't leave trash around the area, because that's the fastest way to lose access. We police ourselves, one woman explained. If someone's being disrespectful at a fountain, other homeless folks will tell them to knock it off. We can't afford to lose our water sources because someone decided to do laundry at the drinking fountain. Schools and universities have water fountains that are often accessible to the public, at least the outdoor ones. College campuses are particularly good because students don't usually question someone filling a water bottle, and security is generally more relaxed. I used to fill up at the university every day, said Tom, a former college professor now living rough. Walked right into the student center like I belonged there. Filled my bottles at the water station they have for students. The irony of going from teaching there to secretly using their fountains wasn't lost on me. Libraries are fountain goldmines. Not only do they have water fountains, but they're air-conditioned in summer, heated in winter, and librarians tend to be more sympathetic to homeless individuals than other public employees. The main branch downtown has 3 fountains, Rachel explained, one on each floor. I rotate between them so it's not obvious I'm filling up multiple bottles. Plus, libraries don't kick you out as long as you're quiet and respectful. I've spent entire hot summer days there, staying cool and hydrated. Shopping malls have water fountains scattered throughout, usually near the restrooms. The key is looking like you belong there, carrying a shopping bag even if it's empty, walking with purpose. Mall fountains are tricky, one-man shared. Security watches for homeless people and will ask you to leave if you're too obvious. But if you look like a shopper taking a quick water break, nobody bothers you. I've gotten pretty good at the window shopping walk between fountain visits. Gym water fountains are accessible if you can get inside. Some homeless folks pay for cheap gym memberships, $10 a month at places like Planet Fitness, and while they're there for the showers, the unlimited water access is a major bonus. Others befriend gym members who let them in as guests. That $10 gym membership is the best investment I ever made, Jennifer said. Unlimited showers and water, plus it's heated and cooled. I joke that it's cheaper than rent, but honestly, it kind of is. Government buildings, courthouses, DMV offices, city halls, they all have public water fountains and can't legally deny access. The courthouse downtown is great for water, Marcus explained. Security doesn't hassle you as long as you go through the metal detector. I just walk in, fill my bottles, use the bathroom, and leave. They probably think I have business there. Which I do, the business of not dying from dehydration, but fountains have their limitations. They're not always available. Some get shut off in winter to prevent freezing, and in some cities, they're few and far between. That's when homeless individuals get creative with their next water source. Because businesses have water, lots of it, and while some are stingy, others are surprisingly generous if you know how to ask or how to get it without asking. Fast food restaurants are the backbone of homeless hydration. Most have self-serve soda fountains with water options, and the unspoken rule is you're supposed to buy something before using them. But many homeless people have mastered the art of getting water anyway. The trick is confidence, explained Tom. Walk in like you belong, grab a cup if they're out front, fill it with water, and walk out. Most employees are too busy to notice or care. If questioned, apologize and leave. Don't make a scene. Some people are more honest about it. They'll ask for a water cup, which most places give out for free. The key is asking politely and not abusing the privilege. I go to McDonald's and ask for a cup of water, said Rachel. They usually give it to me no problem. Sometimes I buy something small, like a dollar burger, just to not feel like I'm taking advantage. Keeps me in their good graces for next time. Coffee shops have become hydration stations for those who know how to work the system. Buy a small coffee, the cheapest thing on the menu, and suddenly you have access to their water. Many coffee shops have water pitchers out for customers, or they'll fill your bottle if you ask nicely. Starbucks workers have seen it all. One woman shared, I buy a $2 coffee and ask them to fill my water bottle. They always do it. Sometimes they even use the filtered water from their system instead of tap. Makes me feel almost like a regular customer. The bathroom tap water in restaurants and gas stations is technically free and accessible. The quality varies wildly. Some people fill bottles directly from bathroom sinks, trying to be quick and discreet. It's not ideal, admitted Marcus. Bathroom sink water always feels sketchy, like maybe someone washed their hands in questionable ways right before you. But when you're thirsty and it's 100 degrees out, you're not that picky. Convenience stores and gas stations will sometimes fill water bottles if you ask, especially if you're a regular face or if you buy something small. There's a 7-Eleven clerk who knows me, Jennifer explained. I come in, buy a pack of gum or something, and ask if she can fill my bottle from the soda fountain. She always says yes, we have this routine now. She asks how I'm doing, I tell her honestly, and she treats me like a person, not a problem. That human connection almost means more than the water. Grocery stores have various water sources. Some have water bottle filling stations for customers, usually near the floral section or pharmacy. Others have drinking fountains near the bathrooms. The key is not overstaying your welcome. Fill up and move along before security notices you're not shopping. I do a loop through the store, maybe grab a free sample if they're offering, fill my bottle at the fountain, and leave, said Tom. The whole operation takes about 10 minutes. Office buildings with public lobbies sometimes have water coolers meant for visitors. If you can get past security, or if there is no security, you can help yourself. I used to fill up at the office building where I worked before I lost my job, one man shared quietly. Now I sneak in like a stranger, filling my bottle from the cooler I helped pay for when I had a paycheck. It's humbling and infuriating at the same time. Religious institutions, churches, mosques, temples are often generous with water. Many have outdoor spigots or will let you fill bottles inside. The church on 5th Street has a policy of never turning away anyone who asks for water, Rachel said. They even keep plastic bottles donated specifically for homeless people. It's one of the few places I can go and not feel judged for being thirsty. But asking for water requires swallowing your pride, and not everyone can or wants to do that. That's when people turn to more independent, if less conventional, water sources. Because nature provides water too, though accessing it safely and legally can be its own challenge. Garden hoses and outdoor spigots are everywhere if you know where to look. Residential neighborhoods, especially older ones, often have hoses connected to outdoor faucets. Some homeless individuals will use these in early morning or late evening when homeowners are less likely to notice. I'm not proud of it, admitted Marcus, but when you're desperate, you'll drink from someone's garden hose. I always make sure to turn it off completely and leave no trace. The last thing I want is to get some homeowner a huge water bill or get arrested for trespassing. Some homeowners are surprisingly understanding. A few have actually told homeless folks in their area that they can use the outdoor spigot, especially during heat waves. There's this elderly lady whose house I pass every day, Jennifer shared. One summer day she came out and said I could use her hose anytime I needed water. Started leaving bottles on her porch for me, restored my faith in humanity, honestly. Though her neighbors give me dirty looks when they see me there. Construction sites often have water sources for workers, temporary spigots connected to fire hydrants or portable water tanks. These are technically for the construction crew, but some homeless people use them when sites are closed. It's not exactly legal, one man explained. But construction companies waste so much water anyway. I'm just taking what would end up running down the drain. Still, I only do it as a last resort. Fire hydrants themselves can be a water source, though opening them is definitely illegal and can result in serious fines or arrest. I've seen people do it during extreme heat waves, Marcus said. Open the hydrant for a few minutes, fill containers, then close it back up. It's risky and you're basically stealing city water, but when you're dying from heat, legality becomes less of a concern. Rainwater collection has become increasingly popular among homeless communities. People set out buckets, bottles, any container that can catch rain. Some even fashion makeshift collection systems using tarps and funnels. I've got a whole setup, explained one ingenious woman. Blue tarp angled to drain into a 5-gallon bucket. After a good rain, I've got water for days. Of course, you have to filter it or boil it before drinking, but it's free and it's mine. Natural water sources like streams, rivers, and lakes exist in many cities, but drinking from them is dangerous without proper filtration. Bacteria, chemicals, pollution, all sorts of nasty stuff lives in urban waterways. I've drunk from the river when I had no other choice, Tom admitted. Got violently sick for 3 days, now I know better. If I'm going to use river water, I at least boil it first if I can find a way to make fire. Public pools and splash pads are seasonal sources that some people use, though it's definitely frowned upon. The water is chlorinated, which actually makes it somewhat safer than untreated sources, but it's meant for recreation, not drinking. I've seen people fill bottles from splash pads, Marcus shared. Security usually chases them off pretty quick. Plus, drinking chlorinated water isn't great for you long-term, makes you feel sick after a while. Natural springs exist in some areas, offering clean, fresh water straight from the ground. For homeless people who know where these are, they're precious resources. There's a natural spring about 2 miles outside the city, one woman explained. I make the walk once a week and fill every container I have. That water tastes better than anything from a tap, and it's completely free. Plus, the walk is good for me, gets me away from the stress of the city, but finding water is only half the battle. Storing it safely and keeping it clean presents its own set of challenges, because a water bottle becomes your most valuable possession when you're homeless, and protecting it from contamination, theft, or damage is crucial. Container choice matters more than you'd think. Disposable plastic bottles are everywhere, but they break down quickly, especially in heat. Hard plastic bottles last longer, but are heavier to carry. Some people prefer glass, but it's fragile and dangerous if broken. I've gone through dozens of water bottles, Jennifer said. Now I use a sturdy metal one I got from a donation drive. It's heavy, but it keeps water cool and it'll survive being dropped or kicked. Plus, in a pinch, it's a decent weapon. Cleaning containers is essential but challenging without regular access to soap and hot water. People rinse bottles when they can, sometimes using just water, sometimes with a drop of dish soap if they can get it. If a bottle starts growing algae or smelling funky, you've got to replace it, Marcus explained. I learned that the hard way after drinking from a dirty bottle and spending a week with what felt like food poisoning. Now, I'm obsessive about keeping my bottles clean. Multiple containers hedge against disaster. If one bottle breaks or gets stolen, you still have backup. I carry 3 bottles, Rachel shared. One large one for long-term storage and 2 smaller ones for daily use. It's extra weight, but it's insurance. Lost my only water bottle once and went half a day before finding another source. Never again. Insulation becomes important in extreme temperatures. In summer, water heats up fast in plastic bottles, becoming undrinkable hot sludge. In winter, it freezes solid. Some people wrap bottles in cloth or paper to provide insulation. I keep my bottle wrapped in an old sock, one man demonstrated. Keeps it cooler in summer, helps prevent freezing in winter. Plus, the sock protects the bottle from getting scratched or damaged. Strategic storage location on your person or in your belongings matters for both access and protection. Water is heavy, about 8 pounds per gallon, so carrying too much becomes impractical. But carrying too little means constant searching for refills. It's a balance, Tom explained. I keep one bottle easily accessible on my backpack strap for quick drinks. The others are packed deeper for reserve. That way, I'm not constantly digging through my stuff when I need water. Rationing water is a skill born from necessity. When you don't know when you'll find your next source, you make what you have last. Small sips instead of big gulps, saving some for later even when you want to drink it all now. It's psychological torture sometimes, admitted Marcus. You're thirsty, you have water, but you force yourself to conserve it because you might be more thirsty later. Takes discipline I didn't know I had. Sharing water is part of the street code, but it comes with risks. Sharing means you run out faster, but refusing to share when someone is desperate, that makes you a pariah in the homeless community. If someone asks for water and I have extra, I share, Jennifer said firmly. Because I've been that desperate person asking and someone shared with me. What goes around comes around on the streets. Contamination prevention is constant vigilance. Don't let anyone else drink directly from your bottle. Cap it immediately after use. Keep it away from dirt and chemicals. Some people are paranoid about it, but with good reason. Your water bottle is your lifeline. Letting it get contaminated could make you seriously ill, and when you're homeless, being sick can be a death sentence. But even with perfect storage and rationing, the daily search for water continues. Which brings us to the networks and knowledge systems that homeless communities have built around water access. Because information about water sources is currency on the streets, and those who share it freely often find themselves rewarded with the same generosity. The water map exists in the collective memory of homeless communities. It's not written down, but every person knows the best spots, the backup locations, the places to avoid. When newcomers arrive on the streets, veterans share this knowledge freely. Knowledge transfer happens organically, explained Tom. You see someone struggling to find water, you tell them where to go. Simple as that. We're all in this together, and hoarding information just makes everyone's life harder. Seasonal changes require updated information. That fountain that works great in summer might be shut off in winter. The water map is constantly being redrawn based on new information. We share updates in real time, Rachel said. Someone finds a new water source. Word spreads within hours. Someone loses access somewhere. Everyone knows to avoid that spot. Time-specific information is crucial. Some water sources are only available at certain times. That office building lobby is accessible until 6 p.m. when security locks up. That park fountain is best before noon when kids show up. Timing is everything, Marcus emphasized. Show up at the wrong time and you're out of luck. Or worse, you get hassled by police or security. The informal network operates like a decentralized communication system. People meet at certain spots, share information, warn each other about problems. We have gathering points, Jennifer explained. Not organized meetings or anything formal, just places where homeless folks naturally congregate. Information flows there like water, ironically enough. Who got kicked out of where? Which businesses are being friendly this week? Where new water sources have appeared? Online resources have become part of the water-finding infrastructure for those with phone access. Apps and websites list public water fountains, bathroom locations, and other resources. But the information isn't always current or complete. I use an app that shows public fountains, one woman said, showing me her cracked smartphone screen. But half of them listed are broken or don't exist anymore. Still better than nothing, though. At least it gives you starting points. Social media groups for homeless individuals share real-time updates. Someone posts that a new fountain was installed at a park. Others share which fast food places are currently being generous with water cups. Technology has helped, Tom acknowledged, though it's ironic that you need a charged phone and internet access to find water, which you kind of need to survive. But for those who have access, it's a game changer. The information economy has its own ethics. People who discover prime water sources generally share them, but there's also an understanding that overcrowding a source can ruin it for everyone. Because if 50 people suddenly start showing up at the same fountain, that fountain gets attention from authorities and gets shut down. Reciprocity maintains the network. You share what you know, others share what they know, everyone benefits. It's not charity or altruism necessarily, though some of that exists. It's enlightened self-interest. If I help you find water today, you might help me find food tomorrow, Jennifer said. We're all resources for each other in a system that provides us with nothing. But the knowledge network can't solve everything. Sometimes water is just genuinely hard to find, access is restricted, or situations become desperate. That's when people make difficult choices. Because desperation makes people take risks they wouldn't otherwise take, and the line between survival and breaking the law becomes very blurry when you're dying of thirst. Trespassing for water happens more often than most people realize. Sneaking into gated communities to use outdoor spigots, accessing locked buildings where fountains are located, entering private property for hoses. It's illegal, everyone knows it, but the alternative is potentially fatal dehydration. I've trespassed more times than I can count, Marcus admitted. Always feel guilty about it, but not guilty enough to die of thirst over property laws. Theft of bottled water from stores is common, though many homeless people hate doing it. A bottle of water costs $1 or $2, money that could go toward food or other necessities. Some shoplift it, knowing they might get caught and banned from that store. I've stolen water exactly 3 times in my life, Tom said quietly. Each time I was so thirsty I couldn't think straight and I had zero money. I'm not proud of it, but I'm also not dead, so there's that. Begging specifically for water tends to be more successful than begging for money. People are more willing to buy someone a bottle of water than hand over cash. I'll ask people outside convenience stores if they can buy me a water, Rachel explained. More often than not, they will. It's a small ask, and water is harder to use for drugs or alcohol, which is what people assume you'll do with money. Though honestly, I just want to not be thirsty. Health emergencies from dehydration force interactions with emergency services. Paramedics called for heat exhaustion will provide water. Emergency rooms treat dehydration with for fluids. But using emergency services for hydration is both expensive. The bills pile up even if you never pay them, and it takes resources from other emergencies. I ended up in the twice from heat stroke, one man recalled. They pumped me full of fluids and sent me back out into the same heat with the same lack of water access. Seemed like a pretty stupid system, treating the symptom but ignoring the cause. The psychological toll of constant water insecurity affects mental health in ways most people rarely consider. The stress of not knowing if you'll have enough water tomorrow, the humiliation of having to ask strangers for something so basic, the fear during heat waves that you might literally die from thirst. It wears on you, Jennifer said, her voice heavy. Every single day worrying about something as simple as water, it's exhausting. Makes you feel less than human, like you're an animal just trying to survive rather than a person with dignity. But despite all the challenges, the restrictions, the indignities, homeless individuals continue to find water and stay alive. The creativity, the community support, the sheer determination to persist, all of it demonstrates that even when systems fail and society turns away, people will find ways to meet their most basic needs. The network of fountains, faucets, and generous souls creates an invisible infrastructure of survival that operates alongside the official one, filling in gaps that shouldn't exist in a developed nation. These folks have mastered finding something that should be freely available to everyone, turning scarcity into sufficiency through knowledge, cooperation, and resourcefulness. As Marcus told me while filling his bottles at a park fountain one afternoon, checking the water flow and temperature with practiced ease. Every day I find enough water to drink is a day I've beaten a system designed to make even the basics hard for people like me. It shouldn't be this complicated, and it definitely shouldn't require this much work. But until something changes, we'll keep doing what we do, finding water wherever it exists and sharing that knowledge so nobody has to die of thirst in a city full of running taps.